What is up, guys? We're back with another video, and today we're checking out this mouse right here, which is Razer's Viper V2 Pro. Now this is essentially replacing one of my favorite gaming mice that I reviewed last year, which is the Viper Ultimate. The big thing with this mouse is they've cut the weight down for a wireless gaming mouse all the way down to 58 grams. This thing is super lightweight. How does it compare to the Viper Ultimate, and which one do I prefer out of the two? I'll go ahead and tell you. So let's go ahead and take a look. So before we get into everything, here is sort of the spec sheet comparing the new V2 Pro to the Viper Ultimate. I'm not gonna go over everything, but it is here so you guys can kind of have a visual of what's really different between the two mice. Now, as far as what comes with a mouse, we do have a few accessories. We have Razer's SpeedFlex cable, a very lightweight sort of braided cable, not as great of a cable as what you would find with those super lightweight gaming mice, because again, we're using this wirelessly, so that's not the biggest focus here, but it is Type-C, which is nice to see compared to the Ultimate, which had a micro USB connection, but very nice lightweight cable. And again, you can use this cable to, of course, charge the mouse. You can also use the mouse in wired mode with this cable. Now we also have grips. So we have these optional grips that you can use for the mouse. Now on the Ultimate, it had the two side grips pre-installed. Here you don't have that. You actually get side grips as well as grips for the two main mouse buttons. And then we have the USB receiver as well as the dongle adapter. I really like this because one, it makes it so you'll never lose this little dongle. You can always, just put this, you connect it. It is Type-C, so it works with this cable, and you can put it as close as you want to sort of like your mouse surface. It just makes things so much easier. As we take a first look at the mouse here, the one thing that I really like is that Razer has kept pretty much the same overall shell design as what we saw on the Viper Ultimate. Very popular, very comfortable, shape and design of this mouse. So I'm really glad they didn't really change that much. Now, as you can see, we have the black version of the mouse, but it's also gonna come in white as well. This mouse is actually 14 grams lighter than the original Viper Ultimate, and it's actually cool to see this mouse get down to 58 grams. Now I'll go ahead and put a graphic up here on the screen, and you can kind of see, what Razer did to really bring the weight down. And the thing I think is really impressive is that they didn't take out anything functionally inside the mouse to, bring that weight down. We didn't get a crappier or cheaper sensor or anything like that. They didn't actually cut down the size of the mouse. Actually, we got a lot of upgrades, which we will be going over. Starting at the top of the mouse, we have our two main buttons, a scroll wheel, which is wrapped in rubber, and a very small indication LED. The two main buttons are powered by Razer's own Gen 3 optical mechanical switches. These switches have improved tactility over the previous generation and have a 90 million click life cycle. The two main buttons have also been slightly improved to give a more tactile feel. So I'll go ahead and let you listen to, what it sounds like to click with this mouse as compared to the Viper Ultimate. Each mouse button does have a convex design that allows your fingers to sit on each of them comfortably. At the front of the mouse, there is a USB Type-C connection for charging and, of course, using the mouse in wired mode. This is a big change over the Viper Ultimate that had the wireless charging dock. It's nice to see Type-C though instead of micro USB. Taking a look at the left side of the mouse, we have our 2 side buttons, and these side buttons have actually been improved over the Viper Ultimate. The ones on there were just a little bit too flush. It made them a little bit harder to access. Here they are kind of pushed out a little bit, making them easier to press. On the opposite side, we have no buttons. On the Viper Ultimate, we actually had 2 more buttons, making it truly ambidextrous. This is, while it does have an ambidextrous design, we only have side buttons, of course, on the left side. You'll also notice no side grips. We had the built-in side grips on the Viper Ultimate. No side grips, but of course, as I showed you, they do come as optional on the side. And one thing that I did test, of course, is the press test, which means you press as hard as you can on the side of the mouse and make sure that the plastic that's being used is not bending, or in some cases, we've broken mice this way. There is no flex at all. Very solid build here from Razer. Unlike the Viper Ultimate, we have absolutely no RGB on this mouse, which I'm fine with. RGB on a mouse is kind of like, it looks cool on your desk, but obviously when you're using your mouse, it really doesn't matter. We do have a sort of all black Razer logo there. Again, it doesn't light up like you have here, but that actually cuts down 2.7 grams off of the total weight of the mouse, which I would rather lose the weight than have RGB. As we flip the mouse over here, we have 3 PTFE feet instead of the 4 that we had on the Viper Ultimate. Basically, we have 1 big one at the bottom and then 2 at the top. This is to, provide a better glide. Also, one thing to note on the bottom here is that the power and DPI button are 1 single button. On the Viper Ultimate, we had a power switch and a DPI switch, or DPI switch. Here we just have 1 that again cuts down on the total weight of the mouse. As far as the sensor goes, we have Razer's brand new Focus Pro 30K optical sensor, which was developed in partnership with Pixart. This sensor has a DPI of 30,000, max speed of 750 IPS, max acceleration of 70 Gs, and a resolution accuracy of 99.8%. Now, when it comes to software, of course, we're going to be using Razer's Synapse software. Now, this is their, kind of companion software for all of their gaming devices that they've been using for years now. Now, the mouse will work without any software. You just plug in the dongle and you're kind of good to go. But if you want to do any customization, you will need to use Razer Synapse software. So when you open the software, you will be, brought up to this main screen that kind of shows all of your devices. We can see our Viper V2 Pro here, and we can see the battery level right here at the top. Now, if we click in, the first thing we're brought to is customize. So here we can reprogram all of the buttons on the mouse. You can actually see if we click in here, we have a full list of different things: keyboard functions, mouse functions, sensitivity macros, all that kind of stuff. We have a built-in, macro editor and things like that in the software. So if you wanted to get creative with macros, you can go ahead and do that. But a lot of different options when it comes to remapping all of your, buttons and things like that. You can also set up multi-device pairing, so you can use one of the dongles for multiple Razer devices. The next tab over is performance. In here, we can set our DPI level. Now, as you can see, we have 5 different levels that we can choose from, and of course, set ourselves. So these aren't set, like you can change these to whatever value you would like. You can actually set the number of stages too. So if you don't need all 5 and you just want to, roll with 2 DPI levels, you can go ahead and do that, or 3. But as you can see, there are little triangles here that have different colors. These colors will show on the indication LED on the mouse itself, so you know which DPI level you are in. So that is where you can set all these, and all of these 5 different levels will be saved on the mouse itself. So if you bring this over to a friend's house or something like that, you don't necessarily have to install the software to have all of your custom DPI levels. Over here we have pooling rate, 125, 500, or 1,000. Again, keep it at 1,000. And then you can just open Windows mouse properties. Under calibration, they have smart tracking. So this says, set a single cutoff point to your preferred distance regardless of the surface that it's placed on. So you can set your tracking distance to low, medium, or high. Now, if you want to, you can enable asymmetric cutoff. What this does is it bases this off millimeters, so you can see like mid-range is 13 millimeters as your liftoff distance, and then you can set your landing distance as well, how high off of your mousing surface for your landing distance. Again, you should probably mess around with these different levels to see kind of what works best for you, but it's really cool that you can really set an actual landing and liftoff distance in millimeters, you know, just for something that really fits your playing style and how you use your mouse. And then finally, we just have power. We have wireless power saving. So this is how many minutes until the mouse enters wireless power saving. You know, being a wireless mouse, you don't want it to be on all of the time. You walk away, you go grab lunch, you go to the bathroom, the mouse will go into power saving mode. So you set that from 1 minute to 15 minutes, and then low power mode. So low power mode basically is when the battery level reaches a certain percent, which you can go ahead and set here, it will disable certain functions. I believe it says it disables the device's tracking speed and sensor acceleration to conserve power. So again, you can set that, you know, if you want it at 30%, which it is by default, or wireless power saving. And that is about it for the software. Super easy. Again, it's a mouse. We don't have a ton of settings, but it has everything you want. You can calibrate, you know, sort of like your surface, and then you can set your DPI levels, your pulling rates, and of course, you can remap all of the buttons on the mouse. As we come to the end here, you know, when Razer first reached out about this mouse, I was a little surprised because in my opinion, I thought the Viper Ultimate was the ultimate wireless lightweight gaming mouse. It was still, you know, it was still light enough for me. The wireless charging was awesome and it felt great. It was very comfortable. But now, you know, using this mouse, you know, going down to 58 grams, it does make sense to me. You know, we have two real categories of lightweight gaming mice. We have the super lightweight, 40 to around 60 grams, and typically most of those are wired. And then we kind of get into the, you know, the wireless realm, 60 to 80 grams typically, and that's where the, you know, Viper Ultimate kind of fit in there. But now that they were able to bring this down to 58 grams is just awesome. I mean, if you use these mice side by side, which I did, you know, testing all this out, I mean, this one just, the V2 Pro just glides much more effortlessly. It's lighter, obviously, so you can just move faster. It is that kind of, you know, ultimate super lightweight mouse that you really want. So I really like that. And what's really impressive is that, you know, Razer didn't really sacrifice much to bring the weight down to 58 grams. You actually got a better sensor than what's in here. You know, you didn't lose the overall shape of the mouse. You know, we see these super lightweight mice, but they're like, they almost look like mobile mice because they're kind of cut down. We have the same good shape here. You know, the quality is good. It's not like this really cheap material, although it is plastic, but it feels solid. You know, it doesn't flex or anything like that. You know, and the things that you do miss, and we have to point them out. Of course, we don't get this very cool wireless charger dock kind of thing. We do lose two side buttons, but again, most people, I mean, I never use the side buttons on that side, so you do lose that. But beyond that, you do get so much out of this mouse. You know, and it just drops the weight down, which I really love. No issues as far as accuracy, no issues with the wireless. Their wireless technology is great, no issues whatsoever. I really like it that you can save the profiles on the mouse itself. So if you go to your friend's house, you don't have to worry about, you know, installing the Razer software. All of your settings are on the mouse itself. It's comfortable. Again, it's super lightweight. The only thing it comes down to is price. And this mouse is gonna be decently expensive for what it is, I would say, at $149.99. Now, the Ultimate was $129.99 when we reviewed it, and I would be okay with this mouse being $129.99, but it's $149.99, which just seems a little bit expensive to me, even though, again, we have a lot of upgrades here. But with this mouse, we had the cool wireless charger, dock thing, and we actually had the 2 extra buttons. So I think that if this was $129, I'd be okay with it. Razer products are typically a little bit more expensive than other ones out there. $149 just seems a little bit expensive, but I do have to say that this is going to be my go-to mouse going forward. It's going to replace what I was currently using. I just love it that it's so lightweight and everything like that. So if you have any questions about the Viper V2 Pro, go ahead and leave it in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate it if you hit the thumbs up. We'll see you guys in the next video.